And here's a look at the Sunday slate in the NFL. Dolphins finally getting back home after an 0-3 road trip. They really need a win, and so do the visiting Packers, Broncos, and Rams playing for jobs in 23. And the nightcap sees the sputtering Cardinals hosting the Buccaneers. And some interesting betting trends are going to be put to test in that one. Russ Thaler, Hakeem Dermish back here in the Sportsline studio. Todd Fuhrman, Kenny White at the ready. Let's jump right into the Christmas Day NFL schedule. Last we saw the Packers, they were winning on Monday night at home. The Dolphins were freezing their tootsies off in Buffalo. They played well, but they lost their third game in a row in that one. Dolphins 3.5-point home favorites. The total's 49. Kenny, what's the play?
I'm going with the total. I'm going to go over the total in this game. Two outstanding offenses. Packers right now, I've got adjusted yards per play, 10th best in the NFL. Miami, number 3. The defense is both below average. And over's been the trend. Green Bay, 4-1 over their last 5. The only one that went under was the last game they played against the Rams. Was very slow-paced game. And the Dolphins, 5-2 over their last 7. And those Green Bay Packers have scored 28 or more in 3 of their last 5 games. The Miami defense has allowed 88 points the last 3 weeks. They've just got deficiencies in that secondary, and I think that Rodgers will have a big game, and Tua will have a big game over in this one.
And Kenny, I'm right there with you. I'm going to try and get my winner out of the way early, though. I'm going to go with the first half total and go over 24 for a number of the reasons that you mentioned there. When you look at the strengths of these respective offenses, I actually think both can have success. We know Miami's secondary is extremely deficient, and by hook or by crook, they love to play tight man coverage. Probably not going to be the recipe for success if they're not able to generate pressure up front. Aaron Rodgers should be able to slice and dice. But the real reason I like this game over the total is what I saw from Miami, albeit in a loss against Buffalo. They made a commitment to the ground game. You saw Raheem Mostert pick up chunk yardage. A lot of that had to do with shoddy tackling from the Buffalo Bills, and I think some of that carries over into this spot if Jeff Wilson is healthy. We know that Green Bay can be beaten on the ground. You saw a bad Rams offensive line still be able to create holes for Cam Akers. It'll open up some play-action opportunities for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to catch balls downfield. My biggest concern anytime I go over with Green Bay is all about how slow they play. But I think Mike McDaniel forces them out of their comfort zone, especially early on. And I think we're talking about points aplenty. Like the full game over, just opted to go first half instead.
All right, second game of the day on Christmas Day takes us to L.A., where we've got a doozy of a matchup. Russell Wilson and the Broncos visiting Baker Mayfield and the Rams. Denver's a 3-point road favorite. Total's 36.5. Now, this is a matchup of two of the lowest scoring teams in the NFL. Broncos score the fewest points in the NFL. Rams, the second fewest points in the NFL. The total's 36.5. And Kenny, the Broncos are 11-3 to the under. At 36.5, though, are you willing to take the under in this spot?
Yeah, Hakeem, for all the reasons you just listed, the scoring, both teams' offenses well below average. Rams number 32 in the league in yards per play right now. Denver number 25. The Denver defense has been great all year long. That's why they're 11-3 to the under. Defense has been outstanding. They don't play this. They've been playing at an average pace. Talking about the Rams in the last game against Green Bay, their pace is 26th in the NFL, and a little bit slower now, even with Baker Mayfield. That game against the Packers the other night, I think it was about 108 total plays in that game, 16 below the NFL average. I expect this game to be kind of played the same way. Run the football, run the clock, get out. Usually don't like to go under with two teams that are eliminated, but I see no hope for scoring in this game with the offenses. Rams still got a good defense, even without Aaron Donald. Their defense is still a solid one.
You know, don't look now, Kenny, but the Denver Broncos offense suddenly getting hot. They've had back-to-back games over 300 yards in overall productivity. But you're exactly right. When you look at these two teams, clearly they're not going to light the world on fire. And some of Denver's success in recent weeks has been a commitment to the ground game. When they get Latavius Murray involved, Marlon Mack has been a nice compliment there. I think Russell Wilson coming back into the fold from Brett Rippon actually upgrades the offense a touch. Now, how big an upgrade it is, that remains to be seen. But this is as much a play for me against the Rams as anything else. You look at the Baker Mayfield story, and it was nice, at least for the better part of 3 minutes against the Raiders. But over the rest of the 7.5 quarters that he's been at the helm of this Rams offense, they scored 12 points against Green Bay and mustered a grand total of 3 against the Raiders. This is a defense that I think the Rams are going to struggle immensely to move the football against. So that's what has me landing on the Denver Broncos on the money line. In a low-scoring game, I actually think there's better value laying the $1.40 to $1.45 than laying the 3 if it's tight late. But I have this game, somewhere in the ballpark of the Broncos by 7 to 10. I'm going to take the team trending in the right direction. No home field advantage at SoFi. Give me the Broncos on the money line. I think their defense makes all the difference.
Let's hit the nightcap. It's in Arizona. There's all sorts of drama. Not a lot of good football being played there. The Bucs aren't playing great football, but they're still in first place. They're only a game up, though. They need wins. The Bucs are giving 7.5 on the road in this one. The total's 40.5. Kenny, how are we making Christmas night a happy one?
Well, the Tampa Bay Bucs are one of my teaser teams. I did tease the Bills to the Bucs, but my play for the show is going to be the total. I'm going to go under the total of 40.5 here in this game, and a lot of it has to do with just two bad offenses. Once again, Tampa Bay, 27th in the league, yards per play at 5 yards per play, and they throw it more than anybody. Those numbers should be higher, but it's a dink and dunk offense right now with Tom Brady. A bad offensive line. Arizona, number 30, going in with Trace McSorley. I've got a 3-point drop-off from Colt McCoy to McSorley. They're really getting far down the roster here in this situation. Both defenses have been okay as of late. Tampa's number 6 in the NFL. I bank on their defense. Could be a fast pace. Both teams like to play fast, but with Trace McSorley in the lineup, I think Arizona plays it a touch slower. Tampa needing the game. They will know how to run the clock out in the second half as well. I think they have the lead. They play with the lead. And then they, as I said, fourth quarter, run the football, run the clock, get out of Dodge with a win.
Yeah, Kenny, this is a game that I'm not going to do much with. I like your teaser angle tying it to some of the bigger favorites that are out there, but given what I've seen from both of these teams, I have zero confidence in the Bucs' ability to run away and hide, laying more than a touchdown on the road, given some of their shortcomings offensively in recent weeks. And on the other side, Trace McSorley, I saw enough in that second half of their performance against the Denver Broncos. He's lucky to be an NFL quarterback and wouldn't be, obviously, if the Arizona Cardinals weren't down to the third option on their depth chart. I think it's going to be a run-heavy attack where they lean on James Conner to do the lion's share of the damage. So for me, I love the angle of using Tampa as a teaser leg, but I didn't see any straight bets worth making here, either side or total.
So drink eggnog and be merry.
Exactly right, Hakeem. Polish off those domestic beers and have a good time with the family.
Are you putting spiced rum in your eggnog, or what are we putting in that?
I'm a little bit more of a brandy guy than I am spiced rum there, and I haven't found the perfect recipe to try and be able to execute it. But I figure by kickoff of this game at 5:15, you've had a couple of brown liquors, you've had a little bit of vodka. You can run the full gamut on Christmas Day and I make a good time of it. It's not going to matter what you're throwing in there with the spiced rum or the brandy option.
Yeah,
I'm gonna eat too much and fall asleep on the couch kind of guy.
That's also a good way to be merry as well. All right, now let's get your top prop for Christmas Day. Kenny, who's the player and the number that stands out to you?
Well, just the game we just talked about, I'm going to go with Tom Brady over his passing yards, 269.5. We don't have to worry about the weather. We know one thing. Tampa just does not go to the run game. They're the number 1 passing team in the NFL. 68% of the time they throw it. Arizona's pass defense, number 23rd in yards given up. So I think Tom Brady has a big day, and I think he does it early and often. We could go over this number early, and as I said, they could run the ball in the fourth quarter to run the clock out to get out of Arizona, but he'll put up a big day in numbers in the passing game.
And for me, I'm going to go to the Green Bay Packers receiving core. Both Kenny and I like the game over the total because I think a number of these guys can have big days. So I'll focus on the big burner there, the rookie and Christian Watson. I know when you look at his numbers last week, kind of a good joking relationship with Aaron Rodgers about not running the right route and potentially costing their team a touchdown late. But you look at his productivity, and he's been the model of consistency. 40 yards has more or less been the floor. And I think this is a game, given the matchup, that he can easily go well over the odds makers' expectations at 52.5. Wouldn't be shocked if Watson catches one ball for at least 40, hauls in a couple of others, and we're talking about him flirting with 75 to 80 yards here. Christian Watson over his receiving number on Sunday.
Todd, Kenny, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Drink that eggnog and be merry, my friends. All right, let's take a look back at their selections for Christmas Day. Packers and Dolphins get the day started. Todd likes the first half over of 24. Kenny likes the over for the game of 49. Broncos on the money line and under the total of 36.5. Again, these are two of the lowest scoring teams in the NFL. Bucs and Cardinals drink some eggnog and take the under of 40.5, and their top prop, Todd's going with Christian Watson over 52.5 receiving yards. Kenny going with Tom Brady over 269.5 passing yards against the Cardinals.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.